Once again, welcome to this class. I will basically, as I said, do two important things today. First one is to finish this chapter that we were on. We had seen in the last lecture about predefined functions, also called library functions. And we also seen randomize. We solved some exercises. I showed you a dice example where you threw two dice and you can get random numbers within that range and so forth. And we're going to see the user defined functions as well. But before that, you might have realized that there is a new midterm coming, and I put the midterm on a fixed time. So if you actually go to the Moodle page, when you go to the Moodle page, you will see that the midterm is put on a specific date, and I put it on Sunday night because I know there are some Muslim people fasting throughout the day. So I thought nighttime after they eat might be better for them to solve questions. So this is why I put it on Sunday. And I also made sure that these times Moodle servers are not that busy, because last time people complained about how busy the Moodle server were. So I put it the nighttime, which I assume it won't be that busy. You will have more or less the same structure as your midterm one, but the major difference here is that the questions will be even more randomized, and you will have more restrictions on the questions, obviously, because as you know, we suffered from midterm one exam, and I put the time more strict as well. I will have to do these restrictions, although I don't want to minimize the basically the cheating. Okay, this is my ultimate purpose. At least I want to differentiate who is learning and who is cheating, and that is why I will put several restrictions on the midterm, because there is no other way that I can measure this. We are not doing these exams in a control environment, and obviously because the environment is not controllable for me, you need to make sure to solve questions on your own. The format will be the same. I solved the questions in around 10 minutes, so I gave you the double the amount that I need to solve the questions. So I think it will be very fair. Also, a lot of people claim that in the midterm one, they completed the midterm in 8 minutes and it was easy. A lot of people said that. So I guess time isn't a big issue here. As I said, if you do not enter to this midterm on this specific date, I am not quite sure how am I going to offer you a receipt. You will probably have only, we will have to think about it. So I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that. And if you put me into that situation because you miss a deadline, the questions will be even more difficult for you. So please do not miss this deadline. Make sure to enter and make sure to complete it the same way that you did midterm one. A lot of people attended to midterm one, so I assume that it's not going to be a big issue for you. One final thing is that all of the chapters that we covered so far, excluding the one that we're gonna cover, the topic that we're gonna cover today, not the chapter, because the chapter we had seen it. So the first half of the chapter is still included, but what I'm gonna do today as user-defined functions will be left to the final exam. Okay. So also we have one more topic, user-defined functions and arrays, and that will be it. So just to answer some questions, there will be around, at the background, there are more questions than what you see. Let me explain you how the system works. there will be 20 questions that you're going to answer, but I will not ask 20 questions. I will actually ask more. Around 40 I will ask, so that each person, the computer will basically generate 20 questions for each person, so that a randomized 20 will appear on each person's screen. Okay, so let's say that I ask 40 questions and you're going to solve 20 of them only. Not every single person will see the same 20 questions. With each person, the questions will be shuffled. So there is the possibility that you will run into same questions, but also different questions will appear. Okay, all right. So that is the agenda for now. Any questions? There are people I see that raise their hand, and I will lower them. Abdul Hamid, you can talk if you want.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, about the time issue, you said like it's not issue, like it's really issue. Like 20 minutes is really not enough. Last exam was 30 minutes, and you said there's some people who finished in 8 minutes and said they're easy. Okay, this is some students, this not all the students. So 30 minutes was really not enough. And this time, like 20 minutes, and I'm sure it will be harder than the first one. So it will not be enough, sir.
There are consequences, Abdul Hamid, when you piss off your lecturer or your university. There are consequences that you're gonna face. This is the rule of the universe. Like basically, this happens everywhere. Every kind of community, every kind of establishment. If you actually if a lecturer dedicates his time or her time to arrange an exam for hours and hours, I spent 2 days to create that exam. You think that's easy, but it's not that easy to create an exam on Moodle. I spent quite a lot of time, quite a lot of dedication, and you basically disregarded it. Not you specifically, but people. So this led to me taking severe conditions just to prevent cheating. So the more they try, the more restrictions I will put. You know, the more fair you behave as a student with dignity, the more fair I will be. Now that you did something, there are consequences. You understand? This is how we work. I'm sorry, but that is the rule of the business. You do something, you face the consequences. Next time, as a class, maybe you should take a decision not to cheat in the exam so that the lecturer will be more relaxed in a friendly environment. And maybe if you show me that you actually follow the rules of being a student, I will even relax a lot of stuff. Maybe we could have done the exam in a much different way, but the situation here really is terrible. I agree with you that I'm not very happy with this, but if I don't do that, I'm absolutely sure the same thing is going to happen. So many people will cheat again if I don't put the time restriction. So what can I do? Huh? So let everyone get 100. Then why am I doing the exam? Let's not do the exams then. I'm okay with it. I don't want to mark papers. I don't want to mark questions. I'm absolutely okay with not doing exams. So what is your solution to this? If you offer me a proper solution for preventing cheating in the exam, other than limiting the time, I'm all ears. I can listen to you.
Right, so you said you have already put like 40 questions and it will like to change for everyone.
It's not gonna change for everyone because I solved the questions myself. I was able to finish them in a very short time. And I'm sure now that you know, if this was the first exam, I'll accept your argument to some degree. But it's not the first time that you take a midterm like this. It's the second time, so you know what you're gonna face. And did you know that the majority of the people actually completed the first midterm less than 15 minutes?
I don't know what the student like, but me like when I see the time like 30 minutes and I'm solving.
Sorry, your voice is gone. Can you
Oh,
talk?
sorry, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying like I don't know about those people how they solve it or they cheat or what, but I'm saying like the question need 1 minute to read it and understand it. Let's solve it. So if
Okay.
I have 20
Let me
minutes and
tell
I
you
have
this.
20 questions, it will take
I
me
will
less.
evaluate your suggestion, but I cannot guarantee anything. Right now, I put 20
Mm.
minutes. I'm not quite sure about this situation. Okay. But the thing is, I really, really don't want to face the same issues that I faced in midterm one. It was a big headache for me. Did you know that some of the students even sent mails to directorate because I canceled the exam? And then they were calling me, why did you cancel the exam? And I said, because everyone cheated. And then they said, okay. You know what? You going to even to Prime Minister or Donald Trump and complaining about my exam is not going to earn you anything. The reality here is that the students who are taking this course dealt with this situation terribly. They didn't even talk to me. They didn't even try to communicate. Most of them, I think, they don't even come to the virtual classes that we hold every week, and this actually demoralized the situation even more. I didn't want this to happen. You didn't want it. It did happen, and we need to be more careful this time. At least I want to be more careful. My job is to differentiate who is learning and who is not. For a person who studies regularly, follows the videos, come to the session, solve the lab exercises, 20 minutes is enough. Okay? It's not only about solving the question right, it's also about solving the question right within the time given to you. If you practice more, you will get faster and faster, and you will realize that you can solve the questions easier. Okay? So if this time is not absolutely okay with you, then you might need to practice more. I am not going to discuss the whole day about decisions that I need to take. Okay. I will, of course, give you the right to talk, but I need to move on to my lecture. So, last people that I will listen. Kamal,
Yeah, hey, good morning, sir.
morning.
First of all, I want to say, like, I agree with Abdul Hamid about the time, but it's your decision at the end. But, like, maybe consider if some people cheat again, what you gonna do about it? You're gonna also, like, do it again and maybe put it 10 minutes for 20 questions? Like, I just want to evaluate our situation here, because maybe I found some difficulties interacting in these lectures rather than face to face with you. So of course it will be like a little bit harder for me, but it's also we need like 20 minutes, maybe at least if it's 30 minutes it will be good. Like for two, yani, with 20 questions, every question have 2 minutes,
I
and
will
also
think
consider
about it. Okay. I cannot guarantee you anything right now, but I'll think about
okay, okay, thank you, sir.
it. Ashil, you want to talk?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning
So
to you all.
the problem I'm thinking about is there are some people who is doing programming since their childhood, but it's not the case for us. We are learning programming for the first time. If you give us 20 minutes, it will be so impossible for us to do the exam. If we have enough time, we can do our best. But if you will give us less time, it will be that we will sacrifice. We can't do the exam even we know programming, even we are learning well, even we understood the lesson that were given to us, because we are not as what can I say, as a specialist as other people. We can do it by time, no in a shortest time. It will be difficult for us to complete the exam in 20 minutes, even we know the lesson, even we understand whatever you are teaching to us. because we need more time to examine the questions and try to find the answer. If you give her 20 minutes for 20 questions, you'll be like, I read the question directly, I have to choose one answer. Even I don't verify what is the missing part, what can I say again, the part that I have to add. I can just choose the answer and go to the other question because of time. That means I can choose bad answer. Even when I will have time, I can think and find the right one. That is the problem I'm caring about.
Okay, I will think about this situation. All right, I cannot guarantee you anything right now, but I'll consider the time. All right, since a lot of you complain about it, I will think about raising the time. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Anyone else? Final people. So please stop raising your hand now because I need to move on with the lecture.
Sir,
Yes, Faiz.
sir, it's about the time, sir.
Yes, we already talked about the time. I said that I'm going to think about it. Do you have anything else to say?
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, it's about the results
Okay,
because I don't have access to my SIS because of the pandemic. My parents are unable to send money to me in Cyprus, so I've not been able to pay my fees. So please, I'm begging you, please, is it possible for you to post the
Please do
question?
not beg me, gentlemen. Gentlemen, this university is a business. You do know this, right? It's a business. Like, it's a business everywhere. Like, when you go to a shopping mall, that's a business. When you go to a pharmacist, that's a business. You need to understand how universities work, which I already discussed this thing in the last lecture. I already described in very much detail about the procedures and the roles of the lecturers. I really suggest you to watch the last video in the class that we already held, okay? And in there you will find your answers. Lecturers, once again, I will repeat myself, lecturers are only allowed to announce the marks on SIS and nowhere else. I don't even know if you pay your fees or not. I don't, and I cannot see that, okay, unless the person is under my advisory. I cannot see that. And frankly, I don't care either because the money you pay does not go into my pocket. The university that you study is a private sector. You have to pay money in order for the university to pay the lecturers. You are having these lectures because the school is paying me. If the school is not paying me, then I cannot teach. And I won't. I will do something else. Do you understand? It's a vicious cycle. So you have to pay in order to get the education. You are getting the education. We are not preventing you from this, but you cannot see your mark because you did not pay. This is something between you and the university. So do not bother the lecturers about this. If you do not pay your fees, this is something you should solve with the accounting office, not with the lecturers. All right? I am not allowed to announce the marks anywhere apart from Moodle. Please do not beg me, do not beg anyone actually. Try to solve your problem. Right now, as you can see, most of the curfew lists are open. The bank transfers are open as well. I just transferred some money to England today and it arrived. So if I can transfer my money, I'm sure your parents can transfer as well. All right? So please talk to your parents, do your transfer so you can see your mark. I'm gonna move on now because I really don't want to waste more time on this. We have been talking almost half an hour about this issue. I got your feedback. You are basically not very happy about the time. Okay, I will evaluate this. I'm not a dictator. I always listen student side and I understand your point. Okay, I will evaluate this situation. Moving on with the course, today we are going to talk about more on methods. The chapters that you are going to be included in the midterm covers method as well up until to user-defined functions, which is in slide number 8. So up until slide number 8, you are responsible from these lecture notes as well, just so you know, in the midterm. So in the previous lecture, as we already said, we have discussed predefined functions. These are generally mathematical functions or some library functions that exist in the C++ library. What you need to do is that every single predefined function has to go through a procedure of including an statement, including a library into your program. And once you have done this, once you included the statement, what it does is that it basically puts the library there, and now you can use the function. This allows you to control many stuff and do a lot of operations. In engineering, what we use, the user-defined functions are basically for mathematical operations. Okay, so they are listed in here. You can see them in your slides, such as finding the square root, exponential, logarithm, natural logarithm, absolute value, rounding numbers to up or down, depending on the situation, finding the power of a specific number, mod, sine, cosine, and tangent. These are all some of the mathematical functions you might encounter. We also discussed about the randomize command. Some people did not understand this in the lecture because I got emails over the week that they did not fully understand it. The randomize statement basically allows you to find a random number in between some range. If you do not define a range and just type rand, it finds a random number in between 0 and the maximum value of the positive integer in C, which is 32,000. So what you're going to get at the end, if you just type rand, is a random number between 0 and 32,767. This is not something ideal because we usually want to limit our numbers to some specific upper limit. We want to put an upper limit usually so that we can basically be sure of what we're gonna get, at least in range. So you can do that by defining a random statement as writing the minimum number at the beginning and completing it to the maximum number. That is the first scenario. The second scenario is using the formula. So you can use actually one way or the other. When you put number +1, it always generates the random number in one less range. So assuming that you want to generate a random number between 0 and 20, you need to type 21 here. So random number will be generated 21. That will generate you a random number between 0 and 21. So you always put one more on the top of it. Okay, that is a rule. Once you have done this, you can actually complete the program. There is also another way if you want to put a random number within range, such as assuming that the random number is in between 0 and 20. You can put the random number using this specific formula here. You see, you can get the mean value as 0 and the max value as 20. 20 minus 0, 20, plus 1, 21, plus 0, nothing. So this whole thing becomes 21, just as you have done in here. So there are two ways. Remember that in programming, there isn't one way of doing operations. There are usually more than one way. So you can use the formula, which is a safe path. A lot of people use this because it's very safe for them to get the number. Or you can use the logic that I actually put you up there. What you need to do is here is that you put the 50 as the minimum value, and how much more do you need to achieve hundreds? You need 50 more. So basically you say 50 plus random number range 51. Both ways work. And you can also put the same thing in here. So 100x minus 50, 50. Plus 1, 51. Plus 50. So it is the same logic. Just to show you in a program, you can actually write it down before our time is finished. Soon I think I will run out of the 40-minute limit. But let's try this out together. So we need to basically write the include statement to do this. IOString. And we need two other statements to put. So I'm just going to copy paste this. C std library and also std time. There are different reasons why we need this, and I will show you the main reason. So when you put integer main, return 0. I will put the question up there. Let's say question generates 3 random numbers in the following range. Number 1 in between 50 and 100. Number 2 in between minus 20 and 20, say 10, say 30. And number 3 in between 1000. So we have 3 different random numbers that we need to generate, and we will have to write the code for them to generate these random numbers. So I'm going to save this into my programs. I'm going to put random numbers question and save it. So what we need to do in here is that the first thing you should put is the sRuntime command, which comes from ctime. This command makes sure that the random number generated is actually a different number each time you run the program. So if you don't put sRuntime now, you always get the same numbers. This statement allows you to make sure that each time you run the program, you get a randomized sample, a randomized number. Okay, that is the purpose of it. The std library, you use it for the run command. This is where the run command lies. If you actually don't put this and try to run this program, you will see that ctime generates this error with the srunt, and for the random number, we will have the same thing with cstd library. So I'm going to define three numbers, and one will be runt. Now you can use the formula if you want and put the minimum value to 50, maximum value to 100. But I don't usually like to memorize formulas. I like to use logic in whatever I do. So I would show you a little trick so you can do this on your own without using or relying on formula. So you want the number to be a minimum value 50. Add 50 directly. How much more do you need to reach 100? 50 more. So you add one more. So that will be 51. So 50 is the minimum value because this whole thing can generate 0. And the maximum value this whole thing can generate is 50. So the maximum value you get is 50 plus 50, 100, or 0 plus 50, 50. If you actually put round command but do not put std library. Let's put it in here. You will see that it would still generate you the error in there, but basically it does not understand the run command. So make sure that each of these statements, when you use the randomize statements, are already there. So if you want to show these numbers now, at this n1, random number 1, you can do so. You can say random number equals to n. Oops, we have a problem here. Let's read the error. We didn't use the using namespace. I totally forgot about it. So let's just put it in here. Using namespace. Maximizing it and trying to run the program again. So this time, as you can see, the program runs and it says random number 1 is equals to 64. You can actually close this and rerun it again. And each time you run it, you see that the random number changes. You can see it in here. The random number actually changes. So I'm going to close this, rerun it again. You see a different number now. Rerun it again, a different number. Despite that the numbers are different each time you run it, it is always within that specific range, which is 50 and 100. So it is never less than 50, no matter how many times you run it, and it is never greater than 100. The maximum value it can get is 100, and the minimum value is 50. So you can use this logic. An alternative way, as I told you, is to use the function. So you can use this function as well. It is up to you at this point when you write the programs how to deal with it. So I'm just going to copy paste the formula here. So you can say using the formula. Basically, if you put the max value 100 in the first question, let me just clear that. Max value is 100. 100 minus 50, minimum value is 50. 50 plus 1, 51 plus 50. So the same thing that I did in here. Okay. I prefer my own logic, of course, but it's at the end of the day, it's up to you which one to use. I think you should know both because it could benefit you in certain situations. So I'm going to put random number in here. For the second one, the minimum value is minus 20. How much more do I need to reach 50? 30, sorry. How much more? 51. Because if I put 20, it will reach to, if I put 21, it will reach to 0. If I put 30 more, it will reach to, as you can see, 30. So we can put in here random number 2 and show enter. The final value is between hundreds and thousands. Always add the minimum one first. How much more do you need to reach 2000? 901. If you add 901 on the top of 100, this will give you 1000 as the maximum one. So all you have to do now is to copy paste this and put entry here. Now each time you run it, you will see that different numbers will pop up within those specific ranges. See and ignore, see and get, just to make sure that the press any key to continue, text is not displayed. So I'm going to run this thing, compile and run. And as you can see, the random numbers are within range. So we can run this once again. And each time you will see different numbers within those specific ranges. You can see it in here. Like I'm putting the box there so that I will run this a couple of times. And each time that I run it, you see that the numbers are changing, but they are always within those specific ranges. This is something that I explained in the last lecture, but I think it's more settled now and it's clear. So before I move to user-defined functions, do you have any questions? Is there anything you did not understand? Yes. Lafen, you can talk if you want.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we are listening you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, when generating a random number with an upper bound, when we specify the upper bound, I noticed we call the random function and we are trying to get the remainder when that number is divided by the upper bound. I just wanted to find out if that's how it works.
I don't understand the question. The number ranges are given in here. So assume that you play a game. Last time, that's the example that I gave, like Backgammon. Have you ever played Backgammon?
No, sir.
I think you did, but you forgot it. So let's have a look. Have you ever played a game like this?
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So this is called Backgammon. So when you play Backgammon, you don't exactly know what the value will be when you throw the dice, okay? Because
Yes,
the
sir.
dice has 6 sides, isn't it?
Yes,
The
sir.
dice has 6 sides, and you don't know what the value will be. You just throw it, and a random number comes, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the reflection of that in a computer environment. If you want to, for example, design a game that each time you shoot, you make a damage to the enemy in between 100 and 1000. Each time it's random because of the angle, because of something else. The damage varies. If you want to reflect that, okay, in a programming environment, or if you are, for example, designing a backgammon game or something like this, that will basically include the element of luck, then this is how you do it in the computer environment, okay? So basically, run command allows you to include the luck element so that you can design games in C and C++. Does that make sense now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It makes sense.
Do you have any other questions?
Yes, sir. So, let me give you an example. If we wanted to generate a random number between 0 and 100, so we are going to take that's the run. We call the run method, and we take its remainder when divided by. We take
There
its
is no
remainder when
remainder.
divided by 100.
This is not a division. There is no remainder. I don't know why you keep saying that. You're basically gonna result some confusion. This is not.
Okay, sir.
It is
The
not a
modulus.
division. Okay, listen to me. It's not a division. There is no such thing as remainder. There are 2 ways that you can do this. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. One way is to use this formula. So if you want to generate a random number between 0 and 100, you put 100 to max, you put 0 to min, you generate it. That's it. Or you can use my way. I always put the minimum value first, which is 0. Then I put how much more do I need to reach to 100 plus 1. Okay, you can use either ways. All right, there is no remainder because this is not a division. Please stop saying that there is a remainder. Anyone else that has any questions? No. Very good. I'm going to stop the recording now. Let's go to BB, and I'm going to invite you to the second half of our course. In there, I will do user-defined functions. So I'm gonna stop this meeting now. Please go back to BB and I will re-invite you for the Zoom meeting. See you in a while.